Hello, I Dr. Suraj Mahapatra, physiotherapist, coming with a new topic, new video. So the today's topic is neuroanatomy. So what is neuroanatomy? Neuroanatomy is the study of structural and functional part of nervous system. So neuroanatomy is the study of structural and functional part of the nervous system. So what do you mean by nervous system? This nervous system is the collection of or the complex of network of the nerve cells or neurons. So fundamental unit of nervous system is nerve cell or neuron. So nervous system is the collection of complex network of nerve cells or neurons, and these nerve cells send informations to the brain and spinal cord. So this nervous system sends information to brain and spinal cord, and that means from the peripheral part of our body to the central part means this nervous system sending informations from the peripheral part of the body to the central part of the body means brain and spinal cord. Okay, and those nerve bundles, those nerves which sends information from the periphery to central part is known as sensory nerves. And those nerve cells which sends informations from the brain and spinal cord to peripheral part is known as motor nerves. So that first number, the nerve cells are bundle of nerves which sends information from the peripheral part of our body to the central part, that is our brain and spinal cord, is known as sensory nerves. And those nerves, the second number, those nerves or those bundle of nerve cells which sends information from the brain and spinal cord to our peripheral part, these are called the motor nerves. Okay, then we have to know what are the types of nervous system. Now how we divide nervous system. So nervous system is divided into, this is divided functionally functionally divided into two parts, two types. First, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. This is central nervous system and this is peripheral nervous system. This central nervous system is again divided into two parts, that is brain and spinal cord. So the central nervous system is divided into two parts. One is brain and second one is spinal cord. And this peripheral nervous system, how it works and what are the types. I will first discuss peripheral nervous system, how it divides, how it works. Okay. And this peripheral nervous system divided into two types. That is, first one is sensory peripheral nervous system. Second one is motor peripheral nervous system. First one is sensory peripheral nervous system. Second one is motor peripheral nervous system. If our brain is this is the central nervous system part. This is brain and spinal cord, and this is the peripheral nervous system. So when we see an object, that visual information, that is the sensory information. The sensory information goes to the central nervous system, and then the central nervous system here, the brain and spinal cord. In the brain, this information goes and it regulates and it goes and it creates the past and previous informations, and it give a motor response. That is the motor peripheral nervous system, a motor response to the external or peripheral part of our body. This is all over the part. This part and this part is known as peripheral nervous system. This is also the peripheral nervous system. This is the sensory peripheral nervous system. This is the motor peripheral nervous system. And this sensory peripheral nervous system is again divided into two types. First one is special sensation. First one is special sensation. What do you mean by special sensation? The sensation which are elicited from a single part of our body. Single part of our body means these are the vision, the olfaction, is the taste. These are the special sense, the balance and equilibrium. These are only the vision, the olfaction, the vision, the only we can see from the eyes. These are only elicited from a single part of our body, and but the taste is both the general and special sensation, because when we taste something, it should be the special sensation. But when we feel the temperature of a food, or any temperature of a food by our tongue, this is known as the general sensation. So taste is having both special and general sensation. Okay, the second one is the general sensation. That is, first one is the special sensation, second one is the general sensation. So what do you mean by general sensation? When we see the special sensation, it elicited from a single part of our body. But in general sensation, the sensation is elicited from many parts of our body. Elicited from many parts of our body, and it also divided into two types. One is somatic sensation, another is visceral sensation. So the general sensation is divided again into somatic sensation and visceral sensation. In somatic sensation, where the pain is elicited, where the sensation is elicited from the superficial part of our body, and the parts from the locomotory parts. The sensation comes from locomotory parts. What are the locomotory parts? Like joints, ligaments. These are the capsules. These are the locomotory parts. In somatic sensation, superficial part of our body is involved, that is the skin area, and in locomotory parts, the joints and ligaments and the capsules are involved. And from this area, somatic sensation is produced. And this is the area from where the somatic sensation comes out. And another thing is, there is a type. What are the type of somatic sensation? Types are like pain, temperature, pressure, vibration, proprioception. These are the type of pain. The somatic sensation, first one is the area of pain from where the pain is elicited, from the where the somatic sensation is elicited, and second one is the type of pain. The pain, it can be pain, it can be temperature, it can be pressure, it can be vibration, and it can be a proprioception. This is the somatic sensation. First one is the where the pain arises, the area of pain, that is skin, joints, ligaments and capsule. Second one is the type of pain, that is it can be pain, pressure, temperature, like this. Okay. And second one in general sensation, second one is the visceral sensation. In visceral sensation, what happens? The pain is elicited from the internal organs. Pain is elicited from internal organs, and this pain is dull pain. It is from the internal organ. It can be dull pain, distension of viscera. Okay, these are the general sensation. Then we are going to the, this is the sensory PNS. This is special sensation and general sensation, and it divided into somatic sensation and visceral sensation. Then I want to discuss about the motor PNS. In motor PNS is divided into somatic, motor, and second one is autonomic motor response. Second one is autonomic motor response. In this motor PNS is divided according to the voluntary and involuntary control of the muscles. That is, if someone is doing in his own willingness, then the action is voluntary. This is the somatic motor is voluntary control, and in autonomic motor response, the response is involuntary control. So if we see a example, that is a dog and man. If a dangerous dog is running to bite a man, so after seeing the dog is running to bite him, the man is seeing this, he can run away from the dog to escape him. In this case, the man first visual response goes to central nervous system, then it gives a motor response, and that's why the man could run away from the dog by voluntarily, by his own will, by his doing his own muscle action. This is known as the voluntary control of the muscle, that is the somatic motor. But in case of somatic, this is the somatic motor, and in case of autonomic motor response, there is no voluntary control occurs. So this autonomic motor response is divided into two types. That is, one is sympathetic another one is parasympathetic. Sympathetic and parasympathetic. In sympathetic action occurs when the stress increases. Stress increases means the fright and flight mode, flight response increases. In sympathetic action, the stress increases. When the stress is increases, then the fright and flight response occurs, so that it automatically increase the heart rate and breathing rate. It automatically increase heart rate and breathing rate. How it occurs? When stress occurs, at that time the visceral organs, that is the internal organs, constrict. The internal organs, circulation of internal organ constrict, so that the blood flows to skeletal muscles, so that heart rate increases, pulse increases, breathing rate increases. But in case of parasympathetic, what happens? It is vice versa to the sympathetic action. In this case, the patient, when the people is a man is in comfortable position, the parasympathetic action is dominant, so that what happens, the heart rate in this case decreases, breathing rate also decreases, and like this, the circulation from the skeletal muscles, blood from the skeletal muscles goes into the visceral organs, so that the heart rate decreases, breathing rate decreases. Okay. Going to revise the peripheral nervous system, which I already discussed. That is, peripheral nervous system is divided into, first, the sensory peripheral nervous system, and second one is the motor peripheral nervous system. Then sensory peripheral nervous system is divided into special sensation and general sensation. In special sensation, these are the vision, olfaction, taste, balance, hearing. These are the special sensation because these are elicited from a single part of our body. And in general sensation, it elicited from any part of our body. That is also divided into somatic sensation and visceral sensation. In somatic sensation, we should take the area of pain where the sensation is elicited, that is the skin, joints, ligaments and capsules. And the types are, the pain, temperature, touch and proprioceptions. These are all is the somatic sensations and the general sensation. And in visceral sensation, the pain is from the internal organs, and these are dull pain mainly. And in motor PNS. In motor PNS we should know the divided into the somatic motor and the autonomic motor. First one is somatic motor and second one is autonomic motor. Somatic motor means the voluntary control occurs, and in autonomic there is no voluntary control, no voluntary control, and this is also divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic. In sympathetic, the dominance of the fight flight response occurs, that's why heart rate increases and breathing rate increases. And in parasympathetic, that is dominant in case of we are in the comfortable, when we are in the comfortable positions, and that's why the heart rate and breathing rate decreases in parasympathetic case. So we are all discussing about all over the peripheral nervous system, and then we should go to the central nervous system, which is the part of a nervous system. The central nervous system. Discuss about the central nervous system, that is divided, or that is the main part of the central nervous system is brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord. And we now going to discuss about brain, and before that how CNS works I am going to discuss first. This is the central nervous system. Any sensory sensation goes to, this is the sensory sensation. It can be a visual sensation, it can be a general sensation, it can be a special sensation. It goes to the central nervous system. Then in central nervous system it compare and contrast the past information inside the central nervous system, and then it decide, and then it gives a response as a motor response or motor sensation. Okay, by an example, when there is a match between India and Pakistan, if you know all the player names of Indian player team, if a new player comes to play today's match, so that what happens if someone asking me, do you know this player name? When I saw the player face, then what happens, that visual response, I see the player, the visual response goes to the central nervous system, and there central nervous system compares and compares the present and past situations, if I saw him before or not, and then it gives a motor response that if I don't saw him previously or before, then I said that no, I don't saw him before. In this process the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system works. The basic function of central nervous system is it can compare and contrast with present and past informations, and then the central nervous system gives a motor response as a motor activity. So I am now going to discuss about the first part of the central nervous system, that is brain. That is brain. The brain is mainly divided into mainly divided into three parts according to his placement. Okay, so first one is the forebrain. The first one is forebrain. The other name of the forebrain is prosencephalon. The second one is the midbrain, or other name of midbrain is the mesencephalon. And the last one, that is the terminal part, that is the hindbrain. Other name of the hindbrain is the rhombencephalon. I am going to draw a diagram of a central nervous system. Okay. In this diagram, this part is the forebrain. This part is the forebrain. This part is the forebrain, and this part is the midbrain, and this part is hindbrain. And this part is the hindbrain, the forebrain or prosencephalon, midbrain or mesencephalon, hindbrain or rhombencephalon. Okay, this is the brain, total brain. This is the forebrain, this is the midbrain, this is the hindbrain, and this is the one side of the cerebral hemisphere. Total forebrain is the cerebral hemisphere. It consists of cerebral hemisphere. It is the right side cerebral hemisphere. This is the right side cerebral hemisphere, the left side cerebral hemisphere. Okay, now I am going to tell you the parts of the forebrain, what are the parts of the hindbrain, and what are the parts of the midbrain. Okay, generally I am going to tell you, this is the cerebral cortex or cerebral, one side of the cerebral hemisphere, and here in forebrain, here is the one side of the diencephalon. it consists many main structures of the brain, and this is the midbrain. I am midbrain, and this part is the cerebellum, and this is the pons, and this is medulla. From this part, from the end of the medulla, all over these parts are the spinal cord. Okay, so I am going to discuss what are the parts of the forebrain first. Forebrain includes which part of the brain? This is very much important. Forebrain, it is divided into two parts, that is the anterior part and the posterior part. It is divided in two subdivisions like anterior part is known as anterior part. The anterior part is known as telencephalon or cerebral hemisphere. Means this is a forebrain. The anterior part is divided into the forebrain is divided in two parts. The anterior part, this is the telencephalon, and this is the cerebral hemisphere, and second one is the diencephalon. First one is the telencephalon, second one is the diencephalon. Okay, and these cerebral hemispheres are, this is the left side cerebral hemisphere, this is the right side cerebral hemisphere. This is totally, this part is the forebrain, and in forebrain the cerebral hemisphere anteriorly, and in inferiorly that is the diencephalon. Both sides, this is the left side, this is the right side diencephalon. Okay, in telencephalon, that is the cerebral hemisphere. In diencephalon, there are various of parts included in the diencephalon, that are, first, the main important structure, that is the thalamus. I am going briefly, that is diencephalon. This part included various types of main organs, that is the thalamus. One is thalamus, second one is hypothalamus, third one is metathalamus, fourth one is epithalamus, fifth one is subthalamus. So this forebrain is subdivided into two types, that is the anterior part, that is the telencephalon and cerebral hemisphere. This is this part, the cerebral hemisphere, and the diencephalon, that is this is the diencephalon, both sides of the diencephalon. This diencephalon includes various of the main structures. First one is the thalamus, second one is the hypothalamus, third one is the metathalamus, fourth one is the epithalamus, fifth one is the subthalamus. These are the structures of forebrain. Okay, I am going to discuss now about the midbrain. What are the structures of the midbrain? This area. So midbrain includes crura, cerebri, second number substantia, nigra. I am going briefly, after that I will discuss each and every structures. Then third number is tegmentum or tectum. These are the structures of the midbrain area. And third one is the hindbrain. Third one is the hindbrain. In hindbrain it includes divided into two subdivisions. One is the metencephalon, and this metencephalon includes the pons and cerebellum. I am discussed earlier that this part is pons and this part is cerebellum. This is the pons, this is the cerebellum, and this part is medulla. This part is medulla. This is pons, this is medulla. Okay, we know first the metencephalon. For the subdivision of hindbrain, the metencephalon is made by the pons and the cerebellum. The pons and the cerebellum. Metencephalon is formed by pons and cerebellum. The second one is the myencephalon. And this myencephalon is formed only by medulla. It is also known as medulla oblongata. It is also known as medulla oblongata. Okay, pause. This is the frontal view. That is the cerebral hemisphere of the brain. Frontal view means we are seeing a brain like this from the front view, and in this the cerebral hemisphere. This is the cerebral hemisphere. This is the diencephalon part. Totally, this is the forebrain area, and this is the midbrain area, and this is the pons and medulla, and this area is the cerebellum part, and that extends down from the downward from the medulla is the spinal cord. When we are seeing this is the lateral view of the brain and spinal cord. When the brain is seen from the outer side, this like this. This is the cerebral hemisphere part. This is the cerebral hemisphere part. This, and this is the midbrain area. This is the midbrain area. This is the midbrain area. This part. This is the midbrain area. And this is the pons area, and this is the medulla, and after that this is the spinal cord. Okay, so we know the outer membrane or the cerebral cortex. This is the cerebral cortex, cerebral hemisphere, and cerebral hemisphere we know the cerebral hemisphere is the outer layer is made by gray matter. This is the outer layer, and inner layer is the white matter. The cerebral hemisphere is made up of outerly by gray matter and inner layer is the white matter. When I am going to make a nerve cell diagram of the nerve cell, that is, this is the nerve cell, this is the cell body, this is the nucleus, this is the axon, and this is the cell body. This is the cell body, and this is the nucleus, this is the axon. The cell body and the nucleus, first the cell body and the nucleus is made up of, or the cell body and the nucleus, the color of the cell body and nucleus is gray in color, and the axon, this area, the axon is made up of white in color. The axon is white in color, that is the axon. Okay, so the cell body and the nucleus is gray in color and the axon is white in color. So that in case of cerebral hemisphere, the outer layer is gray matter. So that what happens here, the cell, the neuron having the nucleus and the axon, this is the cell body, this is the nucleus, this is gray in color, and this is the axon, this is white in color. So that the nucleuses are scattered around the outer layer of the cerebral hemisphere. These are the nucleus and the cell bodies. So that the outer layer of the cerebral hemisphere is gray in color, because the nucleus and the cell body is gray in color, and this nucleus and the cell bodies are scattered all over the outer layer of the cerebral hemisphere. So that this area are gray in color and these are the axons. The axon color is white. So that this area is white in color, this is gray in color. The gray matter, this is known as the gray matter, and these are the white matter, because the axon's color is white. This is the cerebral hemisphere, this is the cerebellum, and here also the nucleus and cell bodies are scattered around the outer layer of the cerebellar hemisphere. This is cerebrum or cerebral hemisphere. This part, this is the cerebellum or cerebellar hemisphere. so that the actions like this from like the cerebral hemisphere, the cerebellar hemisphere, the actions are also coming out and goes downward and upward, and these actions, those actions which are coming from the outer layer of the cerebral hemisphere to downward, and some fibers are, some actions are also goes upward, and these fibers, those are going downward and those fibers going upward are known as tracts. These are the tracts. I will discuss about tracts after describe tracts. So these are the tracts. These tracts are mainly connects with the cerebral hemisphere or cerebellar hemisphere, and it collects the informations like pain, temperature, pressure, vibrations, proprioception. These fibers collect through the peripheral nervous system, the sensory nervous system goes to the spinal cord. Then these tracts goes take these informations to the cerebral cortex or the cerebellar cortex, and then the cerebral hemisphere or cerebellar hemisphere contrast and compare the situations of the present and past situation, and then it gives the responses. And I am going to tell you again, the gray matter or the outer layer is the gray matter, cerebral hemisphere, the outer layer is the gray matter, inner layer is the white matter, and if this is a neuron or nerve cell, this is the cell body, this is the nucleus, and this total cell body and nucleus is gray in color, okay, and this axon is white in color, and in cerebral or cerebellar hemisphere the nucleus and the cell bodies are scattered, and so that the outer layer, this layer is gray in color, and the axons are, we know axons are white in color, so the axons are projecting downward, so that this area is white in color, okay. Spinal cord, and these axons which are descending down, these are these are the axons, these are descending down or upward, these are called as the tracts. And these tracts, some tracts are ascending tracts, some are descending tracts. Those tracts which are coming downward, those are coming downward from the cerebral or cerebellar hemisphere is known as descending tracts, and some are from the downward to upward, some are from the downward to upward, some are from the upward to downward. Those who are downward from the upward, these are the descending, and those fibers which are from the downward to upward towards up or hemisphere, towards hemisphere, is known as ascending tract. This is the basic concept of brain. This is the basic concept of brain, the nervous system, the whole over the parts of the brain. So thank you very much for this class. Thank you.